I feel isn't really being discussed like on social media platforms. YouTube, I've only found one video on YouTube, and I just feel like this is a really big deal, and this is not political. This is just like a topic of conversation on what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. And I think these things are not talked about on any platform at all. And it's really surprising, and it's just something that I think is like insane. So today I want to talk about the show Euphoria. I'm going to be really careful with what language I use and everything, but I mean, the amount of things on Euphoria that are portrayed are just like, it just shows the spiritual warfare that our world, I don't even want to say our country, our world is facing. And I think that it's such a big issue right now that we just aren't talking about enough. And as a new mom, I just kind of want to get like the gist of what's out there. I want to know what's out there. I want to know what my kids are going to be seeing, what my kids are going to be reading, what they're going to be taught in school, things like that. And I feel like there is a sense of innocence being stolen from children right now and teenagers. And we also are seeing the suicide rates of teenagers just skyrocketing. I mean, it is skyrocketing right now. And so with that being said, I think that it's important to start analyzing what teenagers and children, like middle school children, are seeing. I'm sure younger than middle school as well, but what are they seeing? What are they looking at? And I saw a lot of friends go to like Euphoria parties and doing like Euphoria makeup and you know, being like between, I don't know, 25 and 27. You know, I was like, okay, like it's probably a show directed at my age group. And so my sister had watched it, and she said that it was so horrific. And I just kept seeing it every time I went on to find a new show. I just kept seeing it, you know, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try it, and I'm gonna see what this show's all about. And I watched the first episode, and I honestly was like in shock. And I didn't even like want to tell my husband what I had just seen on this TV show. And immediately I went on Instagram and just to go back and see like who was talking about it, because everyone's talking about this show. And young teenagers and children and friends and family and parents are all talking about this show. And I'm just sitting there like, it has underage and adult sexual relations. And I was like blown away that people are in support of something that is so demonic. This isn't political. This isn't like, oh, it's about, you know, transgender versus not, and like there's no opinion here. It's that there's an adult male and a teenage male, one underage in high school, and an adult probably in his 40s or 50s having sexual relations that are not just like, okay, like we know something happened in the film. No, it shows graphic pornography. And for that, I just think that people should be talking about this so much more. This is a massive issue in society, and this show is demonic, okay? So that's just like the portion about underage pornography, basically, is what's portrayed in Euphoria. And then following that, we have the main character, who is a Disney character, or she played in like Disney roles at one point. She is coming on as the main character of Euphoria, and she's portrayed as someone who's trying to overcome a drug addiction, which, you know, is I guess appropriate in ways, because a lot of high schoolers do struggle with drug addiction. However, the way that she's being portrayed as a drug addict shows like this like glamorous thing, this glamorous lifestyle, like that she's like beautiful as she's experiencing these drug experiences. And then it shows like her young sister finding her after she had overdosed. And I mean, children and young teens and older teens should not be seeing somebody overdose. No one should ever have to see that in their life at all. I don't care if it's on TV or if it's a family member or what the case may be. Like, no one should ever have to see that, right? No one should ever have to watch pornography. And when something becomes a fad or it becomes cool, then everyone wants to know what it is, just like me. Like, even my sister said, don't watch it, it's really bad. But myself, I'm like, well, I'm curious, I want to see it now, I'm curious. And so that's what's going on in society. They're putting these things out there, and these teenagers or children are grabbing onto it, and they are full on running with it, and they are being told that these behaviors are okay. And one of the worst scenes was a teenage girl who I believe was 16 or 17. I think she was 16. Don't quote me on that, but she was having cyber sex with grown men and selling her body through the internet. I mean, that is cyber sex, and that's what she was doing. And I was just blown away and I mean, putting a Disney character as the main character in this film just blew me away, honestly, because with that, like, you had all of these teenagers who as kids knew who she was, and they started to want to watch her in this new light. And if they look up to her, I don't know her as a Disney character, but if they look up to her as a Disney character, they're going to want to act like her. And I've never seen a film where I was like, this is the devil. Like, the show Euphoria is the devil. Like, the devil is going after children and teenagers right now. And after I watched that, I just couldn't not say anything. And I just feel like it's time that we start speaking up for our children, and that we help to keep their innocence, because the devil is coming after our kids. And I think that the film industry and Hollywood, they don't have the best interest for our children. And I think it's really up to us to start speaking up for our kids, and really start looking at statistics. I mean, the drug overdose rate in very, very young age group is horrible. I mean, the worst that I've ever seen. And the fentanyl overdoses, and they have the Disney character, she's not a Disney character now, but in the film, they have her using fentanyl in the film. And I mean, I really didn't know what fentanyl was until the last about 2 years, and I started seeing it more in documentaries and hearing about people I know, overdosing. And now we have our kids seeing a trusted person, because they do trust these characters. They see a trusted person using fentanyl, and chances are they're going to want to try fentanyl. That's just the way these curious teens act. They're curious. That's why we try marijuana in high school or whatever, because they are curious. So I think that it's like such a fundamental issue that we're experiencing right now, and we need to start speaking up. We need to start speaking against, like, the makers of Euphoria should be completely shut down. They are portraying teen pornography. It's pornography. And just because the actors that are playing the role of a teenager are of age, that does not change the fact that it is being portrayed as underage sex between an underage male and a male adult. It's not okay. And I think that it's time that groups start coming together and really, really talking about how we can make a difference for kids and to sustain their innocence, because I mean, the film industry is coming after children and teenagers, and I think that we're just going to keep seeing these suicide rates and these drug overdose rates just skyrocket. I just think they're going to continue to skyrocket. I don't think there's very much that anyone can do unless everyone starts coming together and really speaking up about these issues. And they are issues. They are issues. These are children and teenagers who are seeing these things. And I think that it's time that Hollywood and the film industry be completely shut down. Completely shut down. I mean, and anyone that's in support of Euphoria, like, feel free to comment and explain why you agree with such portrayal of high schoolers. And the child, he's a child with the tattoos on his face. That child who's dealing drugs, he's a child. Like, if you watch it, you can see that he's a child. So I really would love to hear what all of you think about the show Euphoria, and if this is something that just outraged you and your spirit as much as it did me. And the devil works in mysterious ways, and in this matter, he did not win me over, because if anything, after watching Euphoria, I felt closer to God, because I knew that the devil was present and that I needed to pray and I needed to really build more of a relationship with God. And I hope that anyone that saw that film felt the same way, to drive themselves closer to God rather than farther away to God. I was even watching this film of someone explaining like how they do the music in the film. Like, the way the music is done is supposed to engage you in, so that you feel like a sense of darkness. And we're not supposed to feel dark, and it's demonic. We're not supposed to feel that way. We're supposed to feel happy and loving and giving, and that's what we need to be teaching our children to be, is loving and giving, and to reserve themselves. Because what it does, the behavior we see in Euphoria, what it does, I mean, look at the girl's sister who saw her overdose. I mean, she was massively affected by it, and it just shows that, like, seeing these things and carrying out those actions are only going to hurt teenagers. It's not going to better their lives. And the only thing that teens should be seeing are things that are going to make them better, make them happier. And I feel like until society can see that and start sticking up for what's right and start recognizing that the devil really is after our children and we really do need to protect them, until that happens, I'm afraid for society. And I think that we really need to start coming together and start praying more and getting closer to God, and really shielding our families and the people around us from the devil. He's so present. I'm sure a lot of people have seen that in the last, few years. So please comment below what your thoughts are on the movie Euphoria, and if that's something that really made you worry for your own kids. If you don't watch my other videos, I am a new mom. I have a very young daughter. She's about 3.5 months old, and that's kind of what made me drive to film this video, was just because I feel like it's such a big issue right now, and I'm afraid for my daughter, and I want her to know that I stood up for her in the times that we're in. So please comment below and let me know what you think about Euphoria, and I would love to discuss it with all of you.